Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the SC1 Factory. We are Dr. Dondi and Marcy Nettles. We're going to be your host tonight, and Marcy is in Tucson, a couple hours south of me. I'm here in Surprise, Arizona. We are on baby watch. We are about to be grandparents for the fourth time, and the baby is going to come any minute. We don't know when, but that's why we're separated, and we have been for the last several weeks. But welcome everybody. Today we are in week 7, and we're going to talk about tools. And so if you remember from the entire focus, the ITT strategy, where invite, tool, team, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that first T today in the ITT system, which is tool, where you give an invite. When your prospect has questions or needs additional information, you send a tool or provide a tool so that you're not having to be all of the information and answer questions and all of that. We'll get into a little bit more of the reasons why not to do that and why tools are preferential over you 100% of the time. Duplication is the most critical variable. Let's get into the conversation today. Again, this is week 7. We're talking about tools, and this is, we mentioned this a couple weeks ago. These are being recorded. Marcy does upload them to the Team Freedom Reigns Facebook page, or the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel, and also the Facebook page, but we are doing this on Zoom only. We were finding out that when we were going live on Zoom and live in Facebook, we had technical glitches pretty often, and it was rather challenging and actually quite stressful sometimes right before the Zoom launched because we were having problems with Facebook. So we just decided to cut our losses on that and just go here with Zoom. It's much easier, it's much more manageable, and we can record it and put it up on the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel, like I said. So today we're talking about tools, and let's get into the actual conversation and into the presentation. So the key here is tool power, making information mandatory and irresistible. Now, in this situation, because we are all a volunteer army, we are all independent consultants with LifeVantage, we really can't make it mandatory. But I want to impress upon you that if you want as predictable of success as possible, it should be mandatory, meaning using tools. So you are not always the information, because you may be super intelligent, you may have a photographic memory, and you may truly know everything about everything that is LifeVantage, but that will be more of a liability for you than it will be an asset, because you're going to want to share that information. And when you do it with prospects, you're basically telling them they need to know as much as you to be successful in this business. And the honest truth of that is they don't need to know anything except where the information is and that they have.
All right, guys, let me share this from my end because he is frozen. Unfortunately, this happened to him last week too, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on with that. So hopefully he'll be able to hop right back on here with us. Are you able to get back on, Dundee?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back on.
Okay, perfect. He's coming up. Yeah, there's something going on with his computer, unfortunately, guys. So thank you so much for your patience as we figure this stuff out. All right, so he's already talked about that. So again, why do tools matter? Well, first of all, if you are the person that is giving all of the information and you are providing everything to them, when you're trying to share with a prospect, you are doing a couple different things. First of all, you're making this business so much harder than it needs to be. And you are also teaching those people that you are prospecting that they have to know it all too. So you want to know that these tools that we have available to us are like your assistant in business. It's going to make things that much more simple for you. They will do the explaining for you. I have to tell you guys, there is so much information to know that if you feel like you have to have it all in your brain, you are going to be mentally exhausted constantly. And if you're mentally exhausted, how does that make your prospect feel? They're going to feel exactly the same way, and they are going to do this to you and not want to have anything to do with you, right? Or this opportunity. Tools also give you consistency and credibility. And we have so many amazing tools for you to be able to share that are professionally done, third-party validation done by other organizations like our ABC Primetime tool. How about all of the studies that we have on PubMed? All of that. Plus, tools are available 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. You know, even when your support team just might need to take a break, or hey, how about need to take some rest hours, right? So tools matter in building your business. So let's talk about, Dondi, are you on with us?
I'm on.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead and take over.
Awesome. Thank you, Marcy. And so let's talk about the psychology of tools. And before we get into that, I want to talk about the last bullet point on the last slide with regard to your support team, especially if you are building or running an international business. Because when you have a team of support and you are in, like right now, Marcy and I are on Pacific time. A lot of our team is on Eastern time and in Mountain time and Central time. So when you're in different time zones and somebody has a prospect, or even in Hawaii, who's 3 hours behind us. So if it's 8 o'clock at night here in Arizona, it's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, and we're not going to bother somebody at 11 o'clock. So that's why, especially when it's 24/7, 365 in every time zone in the world, this is exactly why you want to rely on your tools, because it's great to rely on your team of support, but sometimes they are just not accessible. And those are a couple examples of that. So go ahead, next slide, Mars. So the whole psychology of tools is people trust third party. I remember when we first got involved in this business, the question was asked of me by my enroller, Blue Elam. He said, "You know who the expert is in network marketing?" And I'm like, "No." And he said, "To a prospect, do you know who the expert is?" And I said, "No." And he said, "The stranger on the other end of the phone." Because you edify them. You are telling the person who's your prospect why they should listen to this person. You are edifying them. You are speaking them up. You're giving them their credentials, how long they've been with the company, what they do, what they used to do, those kinds of things. So third-party information is so critical because they will trust it more than they trust you. That's just how it is. They will trust the stranger that you're introducing them to because you're introducing them as the expert, whereas the person who may know you as the person who's never done network marketing before. This is like I have a friend, John, who used to call me the dog crap guy because we got in trouble when we were kids because I lit a bag of dog crap on fire on my neighbor's porch and lit it on fire, and I got in trouble and he got in trouble. So ever since I've been 12 years old, I've been labeled the dog crap guy from my friends. So I have no credibility, no matter what my background is, how long I've been with LifeVantage, no credibility with our friends, and you guys are no different. So rely on the third-party information. And tools just reduce the pressure and they increase the curiosity. Because when somebody watches something, whether it's a video or they're reading a blog article, they're reading the ingredients list, they're going to be curious. And when they've got access to the information, rather than you being the information, it takes the pressure off of them, especially, and I say this, especially if they're intrigued by what they're seeing or hearing or watching, and they want to be involved. They don't want to have to know all the information. So it really causes them to be curious and takes the pressure off. And then the tools make the prospects think that if I can use these tools too, if this is what they're using on me, and obviously if it's published, especially the research, they're seeing it being published on a website, they're reading through the ingredients list and the sourcing information, it must be credible. So it takes the pressure off and creates the curiosity. And Marcy, anything you want to add, go ahead, and then you can just advance.
Go ahead.
So here's why we don't rely on ourselves. And it's not just because your support team's telling you not to, because there are bona fide reasons for it. And the first is we're not the expert in their eyes. They know us in whatever, whether we're coworkers, friends, neighbors, siblings, uncle, whatever, they know us in that role and not as the expert in the information we're sharing. That's the first and foremost. And then the tool, it avoids the verbal vomiting, because this is kind of, think of it this way. Think of it in a situation where a friend wants to take his wife out for date night, and they want to go to a really nice steak restaurant or a really nice seafood restaurant or something like that. And hey, do you know of any good seafood restaurants or any good steak houses or something like that? When they're asking you that situation, that's different. Because if you know one, you're going to go, oh yeah, you got to go to this place. And you got to go on a Tuesday night because that's when Dante's working. You got to get in his section. He's got the most awesome service. Your water will never go dry. He'll always bring napkins, and you got to order this, this, and this on the menu. And when you get the mushrooms, you got to have them with extra mushrooms and extra onions. I mean, you give them all the details. That's awesome. But in that capacity, that's what the person is asking for. They're asking, do you know anybody? And then you go above and beyond because you want to deliver. The challenge is when it's information like this, you do not want to do that. You want to have like a sommelier, which is somebody who is a professional that works on staff, usually at the restaurant, and they will pair the proper wine with the proper dish, and they'll make all the best recommendations. You want that guy or that gal when you want to recommend, ultimately, when your friend, their date night is just going to be out of this world, they'll never forget it. That's where the person comes in. You want to utilize their credibility, use their skill set, use their experience, use their knowledge of the menu and the pairing items and all the wines that go along with it. That person is the tool you are going to use rather than having to memorize all of that stuff. So treat it very similarly. So use the tools to avoid verbally vomiting on everyone, and because it happens all the time. And think of it this way: trying to look and sound smart only hurts your business. And I tell you that from personal experience. This was the one thing that took me the longest to learn, is don't be the expert. Because I considered myself a health expert as a chiropractor. And I thought this is when Blue told me, no, you don't be the message, you be the messenger. You say, that's a great question. Let me get you on the phone with my sponsor, Blue. He'll answer all these questions for you. And I thought, what a stupid idea. This guy's a firefighter. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That makes no sense whatsoever. I'm the doctor. Of course, I'm going to answer all these questions because I know the answer to the questions because I took the time to learn the answer to the questions. All of that was true. The problem was I was being the expert to people that had no desire to be the expert. And guess what I heard? Well, I heard it all the time, but I heard it by people before ghosting was a thing. People would ghost me all the time. They wouldn't return calls. They wouldn't return texts. They wouldn't answer their phones. They would, put it this way, I would even go to their house and see their truck in the driveway. I know what truck, you only have one car, dude. Your truck's in the driveway. And when I knock on your door and you see the light on the peephole, because there's a light on inside, and then all of a sudden the peephole goes dark because I know you're looking at me right now and you don't even open the door. Are you freaking kidding me? That's how bad it got, because it was easier to ignore me than it was to say, dude, I'm sorry. I could never learn all of that because I'm not a doctor. I can't do this. That was the message I was giving. You don't have to be a doctor, but that was on me. And it wasn't until Blue sat me down and basically threatened me with violence to actually get me to break that cycle. And I'm forever grateful. So this is why you don't want to rely on yourself. Rely on the tools. Tools keep it simple. They're duplicatable and they're professional. And we've got them in spades, especially with, I haven't mentioned it yet, but it's on a slide upcoming, in the boards, the Team Freedom Reigns boards app. Marcy has chocked that thing full of tools and resources for all of us to use. So thank you for that, Marcy, and I'll talk about that here in a second. So go ahead, next slide.
Yeah, well, one thing I wanted to add on this slide too is that not only do tools keep it simple, duplicable, and professional, they keep you safe because the tools are compliant. So we want to make sure that we use the tools, because if we start to talk too much, sometimes we say things that we really shouldn't say, and it's really important for us to maintain compliance.
Yeah, I want to give a little asterisk on that. Marcy and I this morning, we were on a recorded interview from one of the industry leaders in network marketing. His name is Todd Falcone. And he interviewed David Grimaldi, who is the president or the CEO of the DSA, the Direct Selling Association. And they were talking about the climate of network marketing. and that we are getting lots and lots and lots of criticism from outside, from industry leaders that are, or not industry leaders, from people that don't want to see free enterprise and entrepreneurship and capitalism succeed. And so, but the thing is, he's talking about one of the biggest things that they talked about was compliance. And actually, the DSA has the whole code of conduct on compliance. And that's one thing that I cringe when I see people making product claims or income claims with regard to LifeVantage or people that are part of LifeVantage. We've got to protect mama, as Brandon Cunningham would say, and we've got to make sure we are talking about it. And I will talk about this later in a slide. The truth is enough. We don't have to embellish anything, and we've got to be compliant, especially when we talk about income claims and our product claims. But what do tools do? Why do we have tools? Why do we continue to invent tools? And what is the main objective of what tools do? Or first of all, they answer questions, because prospects, especially when they're getting new information, they're going to have questions. And I would even, if you're not already, tell when you send some information, like an invite to a client or to a prospect rather, say, you're going to have questions. Everybody does. I will have somebody who can answer the questions the best possibly for you. So go ahead and ask away. Give them permission to ask questions, because one, they don't want to offend you by it, but if you give them permission, they're going to, and they always have questions. The next is it's great information. And so it's extra information that either the video or the FAQ or whatever resources you've already given, they kind of stack on top of one another. So it's great additional information for people. And then it overcomes objections. Because no matter what, somebody will always have an objection. It's just a matter of we have tools that overcome objections because they cross T's, they dot I's, and they fill in blanks of understanding. It's one of the main reasons why we use them. And then to recruit and train new partners. Tools are not just about giving prospects information. They are helping us all grow and excel. Company is making them for us all the time. Leaders are making them for us all the time. We're making them for us all the time. It's just how it is. And then mentoring and growing your skills. So it doesn't have to be a LifeVantage tool. Marcy and I are constantly going to seminars, attending trainings, and reading books to gather tools, because we utilize them as tools to make us better leaders, so we can turn around and reciprocate that to you guys and help you be better leaders. And then lastly, it makes our job easier. We've kind of pounded this one home, but it's very important. So whether it's trust, proof of information, where the research come in and do the heavy lifting, or whether somebody's got curiosity and they've got questions accordingly, whether they're skeptical and they've got some objections to overcome. And once you help them that, you just deepen your rapport with them. So tools do the heavy lifting so that we don't have to. So types of tools. Videos, and this is something we're going to talk about in another slide here coming up, whether somebody's a visual learner or a tactile learner or a hands-on learner or an audible learner. So videos are great for people that like to see and hear things. Blog articles are wonderful for people that like to take their time and devour the information and do a little research on the site or check the references or whatever it is. And so are research studies. Research studies give people the time to devour it at their pace, but also it brings credibility second to none, because we're talking about peer-reviewed, tier 1, published medical journal articles that back up our products. There's no greater level of scrutiny and greater level of credibility than a published research article. So use those wisely. And before and after pics. I mean, what do they say? A picture is worth 1,000 words. When you see a before and after picture on somebody, they are golden. That's one of the best types of tools that we have. So utilize those too. Testimonials and shareables, whether you're doing it on social media, whether it's somebody you're introducing somebody that they can share their story, whether it be around Pet Tandem, Pro Tandem, NRF2, or MB system, whatever it is. We've got lots and lots and lots of stored up testimonials on our product offering. Websites too. Your own replicated website is great because it looks beautiful. It's world class. And when you're talking to a prospect, you send them your link on your website. Hey, if you decide to join me, you're going to have a website that looks exactly like this, and you pay nothing for it or very little for it. So use your websites as heavy lifting tools too. Ingredients information, especially with people that are purists and foodies, and they're looking at ingredients and they're reading labels, as all of us should. The more label readers you read, the more happy you're going to be, because we talk about all of that stuff. Your website has all of that information. Utilize those tools. And then our training sites, whether it be our Facebook, Team Freedom Reign Facebook pages, our YouTube channel, and other sites that are available out there, it's utilize them. When we also have biohackingaging.com, which is just a neutral resource of all kinds of information, including our patents and science and all of that stuff. So utilize these types of tools. They're incredibly powerful and they're incredibly effective. So how do you choose the right tool? The simplest answer and the most direct path is you match the tool to your prospect. And the key here is listening. There was a book written, I think it's the guy's last name was Shapiro. I don't remember his first name, but I think it's called The Art of Listening or something like that. It's a phenomenal book. I think it may be out of print. But basically, listen to understand. Listen to what your prospects are telling you. And so matching up the proper tool to the proper prospect based on, are they an analytical person? If so, a research article would be perfect. If they're visual, before and after pictures and a video would be great. Someone who's emotional. This is where the testimonials and people's product stories and even income stories are going to be super, super effective. And then if somebody's busy, they're on the go. We've got 2 and 3 minute videos, even shorter videos. Video links are perfect for these people to in between their lunch breaks, on the way to the bathroom, while they're in the bathroom. Who knows? I mean, I saw something today. Eric Worre was talking about everybody, and most people take their phone into their bathroom. It's true. It's true nowadays. So give people, especially busy people. How do you know someone's busy? Because they don't have very much time. And guess what? There's a saying, you want something done, give it to a busy person, because they get very, very methodical and strategic with their calendar. So don't, if you've got busy people on your chicken list, add more, because they're usually very resourceful and use videos. Did you say you want to say something, Mars? Okay.
No,
Oh,
I was looking for that book and I couldn't find it.
I just saw it a couple weeks ago. I just don't remember the name. But so the power of third-party credibility. This is, I mean, you can build an empire and a legacy with literally knowing nothing except the phone numbers and ways to get a hold your upline, and also where your resource library is, whether you're using the hub, using your website, using the video links, using the Team Freedom Reigns YouTube channel, using the LifeVantage corporate YouTube channel, using your app, whatever it is. Knowledge of where your tools come from is the superpower of your business, and sharing those tools liberally. So it's not you saying it's the tool, but when you can agree with the tool, it gives you extra credibility and extra rapport with that person. And saying something like, don't take my word for it, check this video out. Don't take my word for it. Check on this website link. Don't take my word for it. Read the ingredients labels. Don't take my word for it. Take a look at the product information sheet. Whatever it is, letting it do the heavy lifting is invaluable for your business. And it builds trust way faster. Because one of the things they say, especially on social media, and especially in this social media driven world, when people know, like, and trust you, they will follow you. And so these types of tools, because it's not you, builds your trust much faster, as odd as that may seem, because you are the bearer of good news. You are sharing that resource. You are the messenger of the golden information, which they are going to, I mean, is potentially life-changing. And that's where you're going to build your credibility faster and trust in you faster. And then it puts prospects at ease, because they don't have to create anything and they don't need to know anything or everything or anything, literally. And this is one of the things that, so if you think about network marketing as a whole, one of the biggest pitches for people, especially when they're out there hitting their prospect list, is ground floor opportunity. Well, because that's how a lot of people have been pitched. What's the biggest, the newest, the latest, greatest ground floor opportunity? Well, guess what people hear when they think ground floor, or when they hear ground floor opportunity in their pitch, they're thinking, I got to make all kinds of tools. I got to figure it out myself. I got to reinvent the wheel, because most ground floor opportunities don't come with a proven track record the way LifeVantage has. They don't come with a stocked library of resources. And so this is the thing. New people are, especially if they've been pitched before with network marketing, they have probably felt that way before. So using tools lets them know right away. If they have the mindset, I've got to create all these tools, I don't really have the time or the desire or the resources, and I don't know how to do Canva. I mean, we hear this kind of stuff all the time. We don't have to worry about that. We've got all the tools. And that puts people at ease, especially if they've been pitched before. So capitalize on the fact we've got a robust library and inventory of tools, and double down on that, triple down on that, because that's going to do a lot of the lifting for you. So timing is everything. This is the thing. When you lag in your invitation and in your follow-up, you're basically running the risk of someone else sponsoring your prospect. And it's like, well, we don't want to bother him. I don't want to send too much information too quickly. And if you're thinking that way, all that means is that you're a caring person and you truly care about the person in question. But make sure you're on top of it. So there's a fine line between too much information and completely ignoring the person. And so just make sure you tread that line lightly and that you just do it with some common sense. And here's some advice to follow. So send the tool immediately after the curiosity is sparked. Why? Because if you spark their curiosity and you don't send them information, first and foremost, it diminishes the importance in their eyes. Because if you were super excited and you didn't send it to them, their enthusiasm or their leaning in interest in your enthusiasm is waning fast. And the other is if you got them curious, you got their curiosity is piqued and you don't send them information, they're going to go on Google right away and they're going to start looking up information on their own. And you run the risk of them finding something that they don't like or that scares them or makes them concerned. And let's be honest, there's some bad information out there about every company, about every topic. If you can think of every single amazing person in the world ever, and you type in that person's name and you look long enough, you're going to find critics. You're going to find bad things about it. That's just how the world is. The world has a tendency to look at the negative side of things because the negative side of things is newsworthy. And it causes clicks, it causes interest, it causes people to lean in and it starts conversations. So the more information you can give as quickly as possible, the more you are framing that person's experience and helping them understand the positive side of all the stuff that we have. And then always, always, always follow up within 24 hours after sending something. Because and tell them in advance, they're going to have questions. It's okay to ask them. Follow up after, and this is where we'll talk about this here in a second. Finding when are they going to watch it? When are they going to view it? When are they going to go to the website link? And then after whatever they give you a time, try to get a time if you can, and then call them within 20 to 30 minutes after that. So you're getting them while they're hot. They've got the information and they probably have the most likelihood to have questions. And then touch base after that within 48 to 72 hours if you get no response from them. Because let's be honest, people get busy, things happen, the screens break, dogs get loose. Hot water heaters go out, people having kids that are about to have babies. There's a lot of things that cause people to be temporarily distracted. So if you don't hear back from them within 42 to 78 hours, please follow up. So here's the formula on how to follow up. Send the tool with excitement and enthusiasm because they will pick up on that. Now, do not be false in this because people pick up on false narratives and false information, false emotions all the time. In fact, it's become a thing. Fake news. I mean, it's something we're talking about constantly. So people will get your genuine emotion and share that. Share your excitement. Share it. That's why your own product story and your own experience is critically important. And then confirm that they got it. And then when you've confirmed that they got it, when are they going to be able to watch it or read it? So you can get somewhat of a time frame on when to expect it and when to call back to follow up because they're going to have questions. And again, remind them that they will. And then what did you like best about what you saw or read? Ask the question, not just did you get it? Don't ask what did you think of it? Because you're opening yourself up to any kind of criticism, or any kind of concern or whatever. But if you direct the question, what did you like best about what you saw or read, they'll answer that first. And if they have some concerns or they have some questions, they're obviously going to follow them up. But you're starting the conversation on something that's good, a positive, and it's always best to start that way. So common mistakes, these are critical and they're made on a frequent basis. So sending too many tools at once, or you're overwhelming their inbox. Don't think you've got to attach 10 different things, 10 different studies, send them all this. You could overwhelm them. And guess what? You're also telling them, this is how this is done. If you make someone feel overwhelmed because of all the information you're sending them, they don't want to feel overwhelmed, or they don't want to make other people feel overwhelmed. So that's probably basically a nail in the coffin of your potential business with that person by sending too much information. And then the obvious, not following up after you do. Because like I said, if you were enthusiastic and excited and you didn't follow up, that just diminished rapidly. It must not be that important. And then the other is talking over the tool instead of letting it work. Don't be the person who's narrating the video or being the commentator on the video that the person's watching. It drives me crazy when people do that. But like if I'm watching something and the person who sends it to me is narrating over, it's kind of like in the movie. If you watch a movie with somebody who's already seen the movie, they're like, oh, watch this, watch this scene coming up right here. It drives you crazy, especially if it's a movie you're into. Same kind of thing happens when you talk over the tool. Don't do it. Let them have their unique experience and then ask them, what did you like best about what you saw and what you read? That's going to start a great conversation, but you're not spoiling it with them. And then I mentioned this already, don't embellish. The truth is enough, especially we are so unique. We're the only activating company out there. And people probably don't even know that what the activation company is, but once they find out and they get excited about it because we're excited about it, don't embellish the truth. Don't make up product stories. Don't make up income claims because one, it's non-compliant. It can get you and the company in trouble. And also, if they find out otherwise, it just ruins your credibility and your rapport with that prospect. And there's no need for that. We have a world-class opportunity, world-class products, world-class compensation plan, and more importantly, world-class team of support, all the way from our C-suite executive, all the way down to the people who answer calls in the phone room. There's no need to embellish. The truth is enough. And then real life example. So product link video creates curiosity. Med or PubMed articles was great for health pros to establish the credibility and let them see the true nature of the fact we are the only company out there with such an amazing resource library out there as the tier 1 peer-reviewed published studies on PubMed. And then before and after pics, the lifestyle proof there for our collagen, which is what started it, and then our mind body system. They are just so critically valuable. Use them. And then testimonials. They have an emotional connection. There's testimonials also in videos that people have done. So whether it's you're introducing somebody, they're having a dialogue, or you're watching somebody's video that's talking about their product experience, utilize them because they're so powerful. So the tools and the action, the recruitment side of this, use videos and testimonials to introduce your LifeVantage business. Super simple, the ITT. Let the comp plan videos explain the bonuses. Don't have to get into it. And interestingly enough, more people have product questions than they do have comp plan questions, but your entrepreneurs, people that are looking for a side hustle or looking to replace their income are going to have comp plan questions. People that are looking for a higher vibrancy in life are going to have product questions. Some entrepreneurs and people that are looking for both are going to have both, but let the videos, let the resources do the heavy lifting. And the tools plus your excitement are irresistible to prospects if you're doing it right and you're not trying to convince and you're not being the message on everything.
And you're not talking too much.
Right. No verbal vomiting. And then tools in action on the training side. Share the training sites, the Facebook groups, the webinars, the stuff that corporate comes out with all the time. Teach the team to rely on tools, not on you, especially if they have aspirations of running an international team and if we're in different time zones, because duplication is growth. If you see here in that little graphic there, when everybody's connected, we're all using the same tools, and then you can compound interest on that thing. The more people on your team that are your leaders that are using the tools, the more predictably successful your business is going to grow and be, because they're key. The tools are key, especially training people, your new leaders, to use them.
One thing I will talk about in using tools and teaching your team to use tools, if we can help people understand how simple it is to share this opportunity with the tools, we will be promoting to them to do maybe just a little bit more than they're currently doing. And that's where growth in your business comes from. It's not from somebody that just has their hair on fire and they're running like crazy and they're getting all these enrollments. No, it's from the people that you're challenging by making things simple to do a little bit more than what they would have originally done. So that's what is so important around knowing what tools we have available and utilizing them properly.
Absolutely. Well said, Mars. Okay, so action step this week. Make sure that you're sending out 15 tools this week. So if you look at 5 days a week, you're doing it Monday through Friday, that's 3 a day. One in the morning, one at lunchtime, and one in the evening. Super simple. And then track who you send them to. Why? For follow-up. And making sure you know what you sent them, what questions they've got, making sure that your team is ready and be able to be there on the spot for you. And then follow up with each person you're sending this out. So make it a challenge. 15 tools sent out this week. And practice makes perfect, or power, however you want to look at that. The more you use the tools, the more natural it feels, the more accustomed you get to the process. And use the TFR Boards app for all kinds of tools. Marcy, like I said, she has just packed that thing absolutely full with all the tools and resources that we would need for almost every one of our product lines. I can't think of a gap in that. And thank you again, Marcy, for all the time and effort you put into that. Because with regard to your tools, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And that's how you build a predictably successful, consistent business, is by sharing tools constantly.
Yeah, and by the way, guys, Boards just recently made a change to their free account to where you can now have access to 2 boards instead of just one. So you can now be part of the Team Freedom Reigns board and the Life Vantage board for free. So that was a great upgrade that they gave the free accounts just recently.
So good. Thank you for that, Mars. So call to action this week, like I said, send out 15 tools, but you got to follow up and share the wins on the Team Freedom Reigns Facebook page. So people can, because people are excited by momentum, people are excited by other people's victories, and people are excited that if somebody else is having success, so can they, because we have access to the same tools. That's so important to understand, is that we all have the same tools. And so if somebody's using them and they're having success, so can you. It's just a matter of using them and following the ITT system. So Q&A or team sharing. So does anybody have any recent tool stories or some successes that you've got by sending out tools? And if you want, to share, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Don't be shy.
Well, I'll share one then.
Go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to brag on you a little bit, Marcy. So since Marcy's been down in Tucson for the last 3 weeks, and actually this might be the 4th week, she's had some conversations down there with our future son-in-law, Mike, his boss. He was sharing with his boss some information about Marcy's experience on products. So he got his boss interested because he's having some health challenges. Mike asked Marcy to get involved. So, and Marcy sent some information and then got on a 3-way call with me. Marcy introduced me to Bryce, who is our future son-in-law's boss. And I had a great conversation with him, asked him about his health history. He's got some challenges going on, sent him some tools, and we've got started the whole conversation. He's super excited. He got his wife involved in the conversation. They're all excited. And it started with a conversation that led to a phone call, that led to a second phone call and introducing a third-party person, then sent videos and sent resource information. Now he got his wife involved. Now the whole conversation started, but it started with a simple conversation about health and health challenges that Marcy had when she got in a car accident, and Mike talking to his boss at work. So, and I mean, the whole process from ITT, the whole system was used. And now we've got people that are leaning in, bringing his wife in. They're going to make a joint decision, and they're really excited because they're having some health challenges that they certainly don't want to have anymore. So good job on that, Marcy.
Thanks.
So closing here. So the tool power is leverage, credibility, and duplication. The leverage because it's doing the heavy lifting for you. The credibility because it helps them trust you way faster than if you were sharing all the information verbally. And it's proper duplication because they're housed in strategic places, and we can use that for predictable success and use them every day, or at least every time you have an invitation out there. Use the tool to help bolster and help close the process by getting people in the ITT system, and let the tools do the heavy lifting so that you can help people build freedom starting with your own. And it is a magic toolbox. And when we use it properly and we use it consistently, it's very, very predictable in how it works. So next week's training, next week is week 8. We're going to be talking about product story magic. We're going to talk about biohacking lives, longevity, and legacy. So this week we were talking about tools. Next week we're going to be talking about product stories, how to leverage them, how to share them, and how to help people build biohacking lives, longevity, and legacies, because that's literally what this is all about, helping people live a higher vibe in their life and have things that they wouldn't typically have. And something today, Marcy and I were on a training with Eric Worre, and he asked the question, has anyone ever had a single conversation that changed their life? And the conversation I had with Blue Elam, and every time I think about it, I get emotional because it changed my life so dramatically. One phone call changed everything in my life, including introducing me to the most amazing human being I've ever met, with my wife, Marcy, which I owe Blue having an uncomfortable conversation with me. Because a firefighter inviting a chiropractor to look at an ABC primetime information video was not easy for him, but he did it anyway. And I told him no 3 times. And then finally, when it was just the right time, it was literally the single call that changed my life in this business. It wouldn't have happened had it not been for that one. And the tool of the ABC primetime. So we're still using that today after 16 years. So do not underestimate the power of one invitation, one tool, one follow-up, because it could change the entire trajectory of someone's life. And through that person, tens of thousands, maybe even millions of lives. So every single conversation, every invite, every tool you share could be the one. So use them wisely, and they're out there. Thanks again for everybody. We'll see you next week,
So
week 8.
first of all, Carol, did you want to share about how you use boards?
Well, I've used it a lot. Sometimes I have to be reminded when I'm looking for a video or some way to share something. You've got it divided in a way that you know it, you know when I'm going to look at it, I know a little bit about what the person I'm wanting to share it with would be interested in. And sometimes I use it to remind myself what I might use. I've been using it in training with a new consultant. It's a good way to share information with your new consultants and talk things over. So, and just don't be tricked in it. It's that you get in there and they make it sound and look like you have to pay a fee, but you don't. Just click off of that and the boards, the TFR pops right up and you can see it. But it's very, 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 very helpful.
Awesome. Would you consider yourself a techie?
Absolutely not. And you know that.
I do. That's why I asked, because I want
If I
everybody to
can
know
do,
how simple it is.
yeah, I am a 74-year-old lady that doesn't want to learn new tricks. So being able to get stuff like that and not have it, Joe's been obnoxious, not have it uh, where I can get to it, or not have my own little um, uh, place where I've saved all those. If I had to try to do that, I'd be in a mess. But
I
having
hear.
it there on boards, I can go find what I need.
Fantastic. And I just put the link to the Team Freedom Reigns boards in the chat. So if you don't have it, copy that, grab that or click on it and it'll open up to boards. You can use boards on your desktop, yet it's designed to be used on your phone so that you can actually turn the asset into a typing board on your device. And there's instructions within the Team Freedom Reigns board on how to do that. Teresa, you're unmuted. Did you want to share something?
Yeah, I loved this training. This just really, really hit me. I took a lot of notes. And I gotta get my button gear. But awesome. The slides were fantastic. And I'll go back through this again and listen to it. It was incredible.
Thank you. Share it out, please, with your teams and with anybody else that you know that wants to. And by the way, our Team Freedom Reigns board, we open it up to anybody that wants to use it. We don't care if they're part of Team Freedom Reigns or not. This is something that we do open up to anyone to use. So please feel free to share that with anyone else as well. So anybody else that has anything? And by the way, kudos to Don D for the slides because he's been pulling that weight while I've been down here. So thank you, babe, for taking the reins there and providing all those beautiful slides.
Absolutely. My honor.
Anybody else? Mary Ellen, it's good to see you. All right, guys, thank you so much. We will see you next week. This is the last week of the month. So please make sure that you're doing all of those things to close out strong. Make sure that you are checking to make sure that your order went through, your personal customers, your personal consultants, that everybody's subscriptions ran properly this month, because sometimes they don't. You still have a few days to help them get their order processed properly, as well as looking to see if there's anybody on your team that's close to a new seller level or a new rank. Let's make sure that we help them do that, okay? And let us know how we can help you. All right, guys, we love you and we're here for you. We'll see you soon.
Next week.